Hello, beautiful people. It's Thursday night, and you are tuned in to Platinum Convos with L. Montague. Yeah, that's me in the Intellectual Radio studio, streaming live on iHeartRadio. This is a catalytic radio talk show promoting healthy living, freedom, and transformation. Last week, we talked about Passion on the Grind with Simone Green and finding your purpose and making it work. And this week, we're taking a step forward to talk about love. And when I say love, I mean the ultimate love. A love is the source of the universe. I'm not talking about sex, you people. That's the stereotype. But since it's the stereotype these days, love is something that everyone wants to say is sex, but it's just not. We're not doing that. We are reimagining love as the ultimate love of self, as well as the higher purpose, the love of what we do, and the love of our communities. So today in the studio, we have two guests. I have Miss Helen Ashford. Hey, Ellen.
Hi.
And then I also have James Webb Jr. Hi,
Good evening.
James.
Good evening. Good evening.
So before we start our conversation, I'm going to let you guys give us a proper introduction of yourselves and what you do, because I think you guys can do it best, much better than me. So Helen.
Okay.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Helen Ashford. I am a divorce attorney. I'm a co-owner of the law firm Luckett & Ashford. We concentrate on family law. We do real estate and some estate planning.
Okay. How about you, James?
James Webb Jr. I am the owner and president of Nation Builders Construction Group. We are an 8A certified commercial contractor specializing in multifamily, educational, and institutional construction.
Okay. So we have two entrepreneurs in the house. Yay. So thank you for joining us today and to talk about this topic, which is love. And I would have to say, in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to have some confidence and love in what you do, or at least love in yourself as a person to be able to do the job and deal with all the challenges and deal with all the hardship that day to day happens for a small business owner. So Helen, how did you even get into law? Can you tell us about how did you start your business and how this came about for you?
So, how did I start my business, or how did I get into law?
Either one. Start with whatever point you'd like to.
So I'll start with my business. I graduated from law school and I moved to Chicago. And at the time when I graduated from law school, the economy was changing, meaning that, you weren't guaranteed a job. And that's definitely the climate that I walked into coming out of law school. And I was a single mom. I was in a new city. I didn't know anyone except, a few family members that I had in Chicago. And the only job that I could get was being an intern, making $13 an hour, which wasn't going to cut it. So I decided that I was going to start my own law practice. So I actively sought out mentors to help me kind of figure out what I needed to do. I started networking. I got my first client. I met a gentleman who had a law office on the south side of Chicago who offered me free office space. And I moved into his building, and it just grew from there. And here I am 10 years later.
Oh, wow. So basically you just created a job for yourself.
I did. I needed to make money. Yeah.
That makes sense. And how did you get started, James?
With this business or just period?
Wherever you'd like to start.
Okay.
We just need to know the background. Wherever you'd like to start.
So let's talk about this business. So I started the original iteration of this business. It was called A Stroke of Genius Painting. I started Stroke of Genius back in 2009. And just before that, because I have to rewind, it was hard to find work for me in the economy, like dating back to 2007. Now, I had some other challenges that I created for myself as a young man with the law. So I had always had challenges when it came to being hired. Um, Fast forward to 2000 and 2007, I was a single dad, 3 kids at home, and I needed something that was more flexible. So at the time I was working in telecom, had a friend who owned a painting and flooring firm. This was on the East Coast. I took a look at his numbers because he wanted me to do his taxes. And I was like, how can I get in? And he was like, well, you can buy into the business because he had needed some more capital. I came as a minority shareholder.
Oh, wow.
The business, I mean, we were doing pretty well. And then the economy crashed. And we were like totally vested in residential consumer confidence and just consumer spending. It just wasn't there. So we tried to pivot to commercial at the time, but we couldn't like pivot quick enough for my family. So I ended up moving back here
Oh, okay.
to Chicago. At the time, I had bad experiences with employment in Chicago, and I knew that I was unemployable by Chicago standards. So I decided to go ahead and start my own thing, which was the Stroke of Genius Painting. About 2012, we got like really involved in the commercial space, dealing with a couple of the city and county agencies, and we've done all right since.
Okay. So from the beginning until now, you've kind of like just branched out from what you were doing initially to expand into the painting side of things, or how did you go into painting?
Okay, so the friend that I was mentioning, he had a painting and flooring firm. I had always been an artist since I was a child. So
Okay.
I always sketched. I'd always painted, with acrylics and on canvases. So to like to paint
It was just
on
a
it was
natural transition.
yes, it was natural. So to do it starting in like 2007, 2008, 2009, 2011. By 2012, I was a journeyman. And but what I found is that the market that I was targeting, they needed more done. So I run into a few good clients, and they held my hand as I learned other parts of the business, whether it was flooring or whether it was light carpentry.
Okay. Okay.
And we had expanded our scope of services, to now we're a full service firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting started on your own, and you did have a little bit of help with mentoring. What would you say would be like one of the biggest challenges that you faced in actually just getting started in Chicago when you came back?
I mean, to know the network. I mean, all I did was network. In 2009, 2010, 2011, I really used the Urban League as a really central point to start to branch out into other parts of the community that I wanted to target, and also with some industry associations.
Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of similar to.
I agree with James. Coming to Chicago, like I said, I didn't know anyone. I definitely had to learn the landscape. And so networking was a huge part of that, going to, events for, young lawyers, getting to know other lawyers, getting to know other professionals in the city, other young Black professionals. And it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, I think networking is very important for entrepreneurs and getting your business started. And I also think that one piece of networking is building relationships and being able to build relationships with people that you can trust or that want to help put you in the place that you need to be, and giving you the opportunity, like what you said, to learn, working with somebody, like what you said, James, and giving you that opportunity to give you a chance or to make some mistakes. And that's something that it's kind of hard to find, especially sometimes in the Black community. Or that's my opinion, is finding the right mentor that's willing to share and give you a little bit of a helping hand to get you a firm footing of where you need to go. Did you experience that, or did you have helping hands along the way?
Yeah, so I didn't experience any really pushback on finding mentors. And I agree with you. Networking is completely about building relationships. And I tell people all the time, people do business with people that they like. And so a big piece of networking is being an authentic person. People can tell when you're fake. They can see right through it. So to me, if you're getting out here networking, you got to be true to yourself. And people will see that in you, and people appreciate that. And I find that, reaching out as a young professional, when I first came to Chicago, and I was very earnest about what I was trying to do, there were plenty of older Black professionals that saw that in me and was willing to help. Because, no one gets to wherever they are by themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to do that trial and error and get the relationships. And I think that kind of leads into the actual topic and understanding your backgrounds, where you are and where you're going. Like Oprah is doing this thing now, Black Love. So they have this, she has this show that has all these wonderful celebrity couples that are showing Black love and what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons for that is that, there are so many negative stereotypes about Black people in relationships. There are negative stereotypes of Black women that are professional, or Black women in general, as well as Black men. So we know what's coming out of the stereotype of Black men, and I think that is why we have Black Lives Matter. That's a result of that. But Oprah is doing this thing called Black Love to kind of show the relationship of the joining of the Black man. And I know for you, Helen, since you are a divorce attorney, I'm sure you see all types of different relationships. But my question is, like, in terms of the stereotype for today, which there are the assumption that Black people don't have healthy relationships, that are healthy, supportive relationships. What has been your experience in seeing a lot of relationships actually in your business? Not necessarily in your personal life, but in your business.
Well, you have to understand, by the time someone is coming to me, their relationship has broken down. It is usually irretrievably broken. So I am seeing the relationship probably at its
a little
worst.
Bit too late.
A little too late. Absolutely. But what I've noticed, and most of my clientele are African Americans, and I will get people who've been married for 20 something years, a long time, and they've built families together. And it would be it's very interesting to me, how it breaks down. And it's really sad. And it's those same issues, that, everyone knows about divorce, money, infidelity. Some people, they cannot agree on how to raise their children. Which makes it a nightmare trying to break them up, because then they're fighting about that in the courts. So as far as, I always encourage my clients. I always tell my clients, you put your family together. You should take it apart together. Meaning, most divorces end in settlement, probably about 98% of them. And so I encourage all of my clients to compromise and settle with that other person, because if you don't, you're going to have a stranger make those decisions for you. And that stranger is called the judge, and they don't know you, and they don't know your family. They don't know your children. And so that's a piece that I give to all of my clients. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, if we want to step back before the relationship is broken, is that, I'm seeing now as a single woman out there after divorce, dating all types of relationships. So there are the marriage relationships, the long-term girlfriend-boyfriend relationship that goes on for 20 years. And there's the open relationships now where people are together, but they're allowed to go off and do whatever they want. And then
I think most people are in open relationships and they just don't talk about it. That's just my personal.
Do you really?
I've seen
really
a lot.
think
I do. There are those people, a few minority of people who choose to say to each other, we're going to be in an open relationship. Okay. But everybody else, they're in open relationships. They're just not talking about it.
Yeah, I may want to agree with that. And I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing to be in an open relationship.
I'm not saying it's bad or good or bad. I'm just saying.
I have met several people that I found out much later are married. And I had no idea because of the amount of time that they spend in other places. So, I don't know if that's a Chicago thing.
I think that's a human thing. Okay.
I'm not sure, but I didn't really see it. Maybe I didn't see it because I was married and I was in little bitty old Alabama, and that's not something that
it's a human thing.
It's a human thing. But yeah, I do find that interesting because and I'm not going to say that one style works over another. In terms of me, for traditional relationships and traditional values, I'm an old-fashioned country girl. So I am of the respect that marriage is a commitment to help you build wealth and foundation for your children moving forward. So that's something that I aspired to have when I was in my younger years, and until it dissolved, like you used the word dissolved. But today, as I'm older, and if I wanted to think about what Black love look like, or a strong relationship and love look like, I may have to have, a really sit down and think about what really that means, because there are so many people in relationships that really work. And, we have our biases to think, okay, well, maybe it's always, it doesn't have to be man and woman relationship, but it's also, man and man and woman to woman. And all of these relationships are so different. So different. So in terms of